Both exist because companies worth billions will not build what their users need. One was created because the largest competing game store refused to release a client for the platform despite giving away titles every week. The other was created because a 33-year-old compatibility layer has never had a front end that normal people could use without a terminal. Both are volunteer projects with no revenue. Both had updates in early 2026 that broke things badly enough to generate threads questioning whether they should be trusted. One had a packaging update break every game overnight. The other has had a setup bug preventing new users from completing installation since February 2025. Neither has a succession plan. Both are the tools people are migrating to after the project that deleted save files. The alternatives have their own problems. The Game Store launcher was built by a Brazilian developer in 2020 as a graphical wrapper for a command line tool that had reverse engineered the competing store's authentication and download systems. It now manages libraries across 3 separate stores from a single interface, covering the largest competing store, the largest copy protection free store, and a subscription service that offers no other installation path on the platform. The backend was rewritten from one programming language into a faster one for tighter integration. Each title can be assigned a different compatibility tool. Cloud saves, download queuing, and multiple account management are built in. The weekly free game program from the largest competing store drove adoption more than any feature the project built. Users claim titles through a browser and need the launcher to install and play them on hardware the store refuses to support. The store tolerates the project because every title claimed or purchased still generates revenue regardless of which operating system it runs on. No legal action has been taken, no official communication has been exchanged. The project exists in a gap between what the store will not build and what its users on the platform require. The framework bundles an entire web browser engine for its interface, using 200 to 400 megabytes of memory before a game launches. The team chose this because maintaining 3 native codebases was not realistic for a volunteer project. Downloads run measurably slower than the same downloads through the official client, with speeds below 40 megabits per second reported where the official client achieves significantly more. Whether the store deliberately throttles non-official access or the reverse-engineered path is simply less efficient is unconfirmed. The sandboxed packaging format that most non-technical users install dug-through broke every game in late January 2026, causing silent crashes with no log output. A distribution-specific failure on a fast-moving rolling release the same week compounded the damage. The launcher does not integrate with the handheld gaming device's primary interface and runs only in its desktop mode. The compatibility layer front-end was built by an Italian developer who wanted prefix management to be visual, organized, and reproducible. Each application runs inside an isolated environment with its own registry, libraries, configuration, and shader caches. Templates optimized for gaming or productivity pre-configure the environment with the appropriate translation layers and performance settings. The interface is built on the design framework the largest desktop environment provides, which means it looks native on systems running that environment and slightly foreign on everything else. The project committed to the sandboxed packaging format as its primary distribution method and actively discourages distribution maintainers from packaging it in their repositories, arguing that lagging versions generate false bug reports. The distro packaging dispute has escalated over 2 years. The developers called out specific distributions by name and hardened their packaging policy to make distribution packaged versions more likely to break compared to the official sandboxed version. Distribution maintainers argue that packaging upstream software is foundational to how the ecosystem works, and that requesting distributions not include a project contradicts those principles. In July 2025, the project went 6 months without a significant commit. A contributor publicly stated they had lost confidence due to poor design choices. The rewrite from the previous interface toolkit to the current one had stalled. The November 2025 release resumed development with modern display system support, dropped user tracking, and introduced consent prompts for a communication component that broke some automated workflows. The first run setup issue documented since February 2025 causes the launcher to hang during initial configuration, fail to download its component repository, and restart the process on every launch. The workaround requires manually setting environment variables. The people encountering it are the people least likely to know how. The Game Store launcher covers territory the front end does not. 3 stores, each with reverse-engineered access, managed through one interface. The front end covers territory, the launcher does not. Any application that runs under the compatibility layer, not just games, with isolated environments that keep each installation separated from the rest. The launcher is broader in store coverage. The front end is deeper in environment management. A user who needs titles from the competing store, the copy protection-free store, and the subscription service needs the launcher. A user who needs to run productivity software, older applications, or games that require specific compatibility layer configurations with precise control over each environment's libraries and registry needs the front end. Both depend on the same underlying compatibility layer, but use it differently. The launcher calls the layer or its forks as runners and manages them per title. The front end manages the layer's environments directly and gives users control over every component inside them. The launcher abstracts complexity away. The front end exposes it deliberately. Neither project has revenue. The launcher has no donations page. The front end's team acknowledged financial stress alongside the development stall. Both run on volunteer hours. Both have lead developers whose continued motivation is the only thing preventing the projects from stopping entirely. The launcher's open license means the community could fork it if the maintainer steps away, but the institutional knowledge of 3 reverse-engineered store interfaces would be difficult to replicate. The front-end's open license offers the same theoretical protection, but the architectural rewrite that stalled once could stall again under different maintainers with even less context. The underlying compatibility layer itself is the one component neither project needs to worry about losing. It has been maintained by the same person for over 30 years, is funded by a commercial company that sells a supported version, and will continue regardless of what happens to either front end. The infrastructure is stable. The interfaces built on top of it are the fragile parts. Heroic for anyone whose games come from stores the largest compatibility layer's built-in system does not cover, where 3 stores in one interface removes the need for 3 separate solutions, where compatibility tool selection per title gives control. The automatic system does not offer, and where the open license means the community can continue the project if the current team cannot, accepting that downloads run slower than official clients, that the sandboxed packaging format broke every game in January 2026, that the framework uses 200 to 400 megabytes for its interface alone, and that the store the project was built to access tolerates its existence without supporting it. Bottles and wine, for anyone who needs isolated environments for applications beyond gaming, where the compatibility layer's 33-year development and commercial backing provide the deepest translation available, and the front end gives that layer the cleanest visual management it has ever had, accepting that the first run setup has been broken since February 2025, that the developers are in a dispute with major distributions over packaging, that a 6-month development gap exposed the limits of volunteer momentum, and that the sandboxed format the developers insist on is the source of the problems new users hit most often. 2 volunteer projects filling gaps that funded companies left open, both indispensable, both fragile. Every choice is a trade-off. At least now you know what you're trading.